We've seen various pictures, pieces of artwork over the years suggesting what different stages of the Space Marine armouring sequence might look like. We've never seen it put together quite so comprehensively as this before, so it entirely accorded with all of those existing pieces of imagery that we've seen and become familiar with over the years, but brought together and showed an awful lot more than we've ever seen before.
When you look at a miniature, the chest piece is a good example. You put some glue on it and you stick it on and you never see the inside of it again. But then once we start peeling those layers apart, there was just a lot of questions to answer in terms of like, well, how does it connect? What goes on under there?
Jez has done an awful lot of thinking, as have I and the other miniatures designers, over the space of years, over how the functionality of the things that you don't see on our miniatures, how the power armour would work and what have you. So luckily Jez had done actually quite a bit of preparatory work in terms of like some sketch work that he'd done for himself really, in terms of thinking about how the undersuit might work, how the interface with the black carapace might work, how the layering of the helmet designs might work. All of that was done in the really early stages of when he approached the Primaris project.
There's so many great moments in that video. I think the point at which you see the skin suit tightening up and he does his wrestler's neck roll as he gets the final pressure seals adjusted before the first parts of the armour go on over the undersuit itself. Seeing the plates being drilled into him to make sure that they're going to be fixed for the weeks or months or years that he's going to be wearing that suit of power armour.
The sound of the bones crunching as the cables go in, all of those things I think really speak to the visceralness and the brutality of the process. When the power pack goes on, that's the thing that brings the armor to life, and by doing so, it brings him to life.
And making the power armor actually function as power armor.
I do enjoy a lot of the mechanical bits that show you how bits of the stuff of the armor goes together. But yeah, the atmosphere and the general ritual of the whole process, I think the team did a really good job of.
I really felt the immensity of the Imperium and everything that contemporary Space Marines in the 41st millennium have inherited from their Legion forebears. You can imagine that this arming chamber dates from the time of the Ultramarines Legion.
We tried to make it a functional space that obviously is purpose-built to do a specific thing, but also not leave out any of those gothic, esoteric elements that defines Warhammer 40,000.
The ancillary stuff that exists in the kind of margins of the 41st millennium, the tech priest, the cherubs bringing stuff for him to wear, the monotasked servitors who exist only to fulfill a particular function, who are mounted on cranes on the walls and only come out to bestow particular pieces of armour. The amount of industry and effort that goes into arming even a single Space Marine, one representative of his chapter, to prepare for war is absolutely mind-blowing.
I'm hoping that this entire scene is a encapsulation and microcosm of the 41st millennium kind of in general. It has so many of those elements that are like the contradictory things that make 40K. Like they're on a spaceship that can open a tunnel through dimensions, but they light the halls with candles, right? It's conducted like an orchestra or like an event by a part machine, part human zealot who worships forgotten knowledge. Like there's a lot of key 40K flavor in there, and I think hopefully embedding this process in people's imaginations and visually presenting that will have an effect.
I hope people watching this take away the amount of thought and work that's gone into realising scenes from the 41st millennium that we know take place but don't necessarily get a chance to explore in quite this amount of detail. Things that have been written about in Black Library books or alluded to in cutscenes and video games but never presented quite so comprehensively with the amount of involvement from the Warhammer Studio, Warhammer Storyforge writers and other people around Games Workshop.